Yes, sir.
All right, I want to call this evening's work session to order. Start off with recognizing members of administration that are present.
Mayor Jamie Slutes. Safety Service Director Renee Baker. Chief Deputy Auditor Stephanie Myers. Director of Development Ted Hernkane. Fire Chief Matthew Heck. And Chief Building Official Phil Gorman. That's it, President Pro Tem.
Thank you, Diane. All right, tonight we'll start off with community development. Councilwoman Creamer.
Thank you, Mr. Gregg. I have nothing for community development.
All right, thank you. Economic development, Councilman Ray.
Thank you, Mr. Gregg. I do have one new piece of business. It starts on March 19th, 2025. Massillon Tax Incentive Review Council meets and reviews the city's enterprise zone project. The TIRC is required by state law to annually review each easy agreement to make sure that each company is compliant per their agreement with respect to their project investment or their job creativity retention commitments. The TIRC makes recommendations to City Council to continue, modify, or terminate the city's existing easy agreement. I would like to call up Director Hernkane to let us know what's going on.
Good evening, Council. Councilman Ray, yes. Once a year, the TIRC, Tax Incentive Review Council, meets according to state law to review all of the tax abatement projects that the city has currently on the books. There are 3 enterprise zone tax abatements that the council reviewed that are forwarded to you for approval or accepting their recommendations. The 3 existing enterprise zone projects we have are Quest Automotive Products, the Shears new warehouse from 5 or 6 years ago, and the newest one is Mast Trucking. All of these tax abatement projects have met their respective job creation component or capital investment components. The Quest Automotive Products one is in the last year of its tax abatement, so it will roll off next year. The TIRC will move to accept that as its final next year, but it is on this year because the tax year 24 was the last year they received the abatement. So again, we do this once every spring where the TIRC meets to review these, make sure they're in compliance, and then they are forwarded to you for approval.
Thank you, Director. Anybody have any questions? Councilman Cunningham?
Thank you, Councilman Ray. Mr. Hernkane, this may have happened prior to me coming on to council, but what or where is Mast Trucking?
Mast Trucking is off of Richville Drive. I want to say, I'm going to get the street wrong, I apologize. Business Place, says it right there. Right off of Richville Drive.
I never heard of Business Place either, but okay.
It's the industrial park that goes back across from the inn at University Village.
Oh, okay.
It's on the east side of Richville Drive, kind of sits behind the animal,
PBS.
Yeah.
yes,
PD,
PBS.
yeah. Okay, and then also Quest Automotive, which is down on Nova, is that where they had, it used to be called something else?
It
and
used
they
to be U.S. Chemical, used to be Valspar.
Right.
Became
And they do a
Valspar.
lot of,
Now it's Sherwin-Williams, I think, technically.
they do a lot of different paints and
They do a lot of paint,
coatings. Yeah.
automotive paints.
Okay,
Correct.
all right.
It's
Thank
had
you.
several names over the years, but you got it.
All right, thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Director.
Thank you.
And that is all I have for economic development.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Ray. Next, health, welfare, and building regulations, Councilwoman Cunningham.
I have nothing at this time to report. Thank you.
Okay. Parks and Recreation, Councilman Harwick Smith's not here. I don't believe there was anything on, is there something on?
There's nothing to report.
I don't believe there was anything on the docket. Thank you. Councilman Creamer. Police and Fire, Councilman Markham, who's absent this evening. I don't think there was anything for Police and Fire either.
I don't think there is either.
That one,
Okay.
The old piece.
the old piece.
Oh, the
Oh,
overtime
yeah.
for the fire
attached
department?
to the financial piece.
Right. An ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Service and Safety of the City of Massillon to accept a donation from Grief Brothers Packaging on behalf of the Massillon Fire Department. I see Chief Heck is here. Does council, anyone in council have questions for Chief Heck or administration? Councilwoman Cunningham?
Again, because I was absent, what is it supposed to go to? Certain program or equipment or?
Chief, since you're here?
Good evening. So the $3,000 donation, we've got kind of earmarked for personal protective gear, kind of like rope rescue stuff at this point in time, things that kind of out of the ordinary that we don't replace a whole lot of. And the other part of it was towards physical fitness equipment.
Physical fitness equipment, do the employees of the city still, are they able to use the rec center, which they did a few years back?
They are able to use the rec center, that is an option. They also do a lot of things while on duty from a physical fitness standpoint with workouts and things like that. So that's what the equipment is for.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Chief Heck, I had a question. So the personnel work out sometimes on duty. Do they have like a trainer, or is it just on their own? They do what they want to do?
Mostly it's on their own. There's several that have experience with it. The couple that are in competitions, if you want to say, that do some things. But most of the other stuff is on your own.
on your
We did have, several years ago, kind of a program, part of a grant that came in with, when we started to do a lot of the physical fitness stuff, that had some ideas and some programs, some recommendations. But today, it's mostly those guys on duty or gals on duty that have their own programs. Some of them are more heavy, some of them are light, some of them heavy to the cardiac or the cardio side of things. So, but yeah.
Okay, thank you. Other questions, discussion? All right, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Okay, next, Public Utilities and Environmental, Councilwoman Brian Huth.
Thank you, President Pro Tem. I don't have anything this evening.
Okay, thank you. Next is Rules, Courts, and Civil Service, which is my committee. We have one old piece of business, ordinance number 19-2025, which was tabled to June 2nd. Ordinance amending the occupation list of class titles 610-615, wastewater treatment in the city of Massillon, Ohio, by establishing and creating the position of safety officer and establishing the class grade schedule for said position within the 610-615 wastewater treatment. We've had quite a bit of discussion on this. Is there any further, are there any further questions or discussion? Plan to bring this forward for a vote on the 2nd. Have one new piece of legislation. I don't know who picked the font on this, but
Yeah,
you're testing my eyesight on, for sure.
he's been passing readers.
Please prepare to add the position of administrative assistant dash permit assistant part-time within the building department to be compensated at a 9-5 classified in the, I'm sorry, 9S, in accordance with the city's pay schedule for classified employees. At the request of the Director of Public Service and Safety, the Massillon City Service Commission is on board to approve the addition of this position to the classified service of the City of Massillon once City Council approves the legislation request. The part-time position of Administrative Assistant-Permit Assistant has been in place since 10/25/21. The position was vacated on 4/7/25 when the employee who had held this position was hired full-time as a code enforcement officer. This left a vacancy in the building department. During the process of filling this vacated role, the city administration renewed the position, and they would like to have this position separated out from the slot the position was previously listed under. The city's occupation list of class titles for the building department lists the position 9S classified administrative assistant/permit assistant. The previous city administration had 2 employees being paid from this slot, one full-time, one part-time. The city's current administration would like to create an additional slot specifically for this part-time position before we fill the vacancy. It's got emergency language. The reason for the emergency language is the building department has an urgent need for this legislation request. Our department is suffering greatly due to this delay. We are very behind in processing permits, rental registrations, vacant property registrations, and foreclosed property registrations, and we are declaring this request an emergency. Someone from administration, please, to discuss this? That's why they typed it so small.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So first of all, to clarify a little bit more to what the request stated, this is kind of a cleanup. This position has been in effect, like it said, since October of '21. It was originally a temporary position. Per revised code, it was a temporary position that could be filled for 120 days, and then it was extended for an additional, I want to say 90 or another 120 days. Then it became part-time, so it was no longer temporary, it was permanent but part-time. And that was filled, I don't know if any of you remember, but Darla Dunn filled that position. When it became vacant again after Darla, then we had filled it with someone else. At that time, I didn't realize that it had never been approved by council, the position, back in 2021 or 2022 when it went to permanent. So when it became vacant again, a month or so ago, as we were digging through doing some research because we're helping civil service with some cleanup and some other things that need done, we found that this position has never been to council. Now, I think maybe it's because they maybe didn't think it had to be because there was already a full-time, but this is an additional. And we've had three positions in the building department for several years now. So they have the office manager, and then they have a full-time permit assistant, this position, and then they also had a part-time one, which again came on board temporary in the latter part of '21, and then permanent part-time in '22. I can't speak for why it wasn't brought before. Maybe didn't realize it should have been. I found it as we were going to fill it, and so I wanted to make sure we did it the correct way and brought it before council, and then of course to civil service to make sure the job description gets approved and all those as well.
Okay, so a couple questions. So this request is to make the position, or it's to add the position of a full-time?
No, part-time. It's still going to be part-time, but it's a permanent part-time position.
Okay,
Which is what it's been all along, is part-time. There's also a full-time position in there too, but this is also a part-time, which again, both of those have been there.
okay. And when it was switched from temporary to part-time, what caused that switch?
I wasn't here, I don't know. it was temporary due to an absence of, I think, the full-time position based on records that I could find. I think there was somebody that was ill in the department, so they were able to get a temporary position. But then the needs of the department, from what I gathered, the previous building official, Frank, had submitted to the previous public safety director a justification for why they needed additional help. It's due to the volume, and Phil can go into that more detail on now. I just can't speak for then, because I can't find a lot of records, but I just know from talking to Frank before, the need for the amount of permits that get processed through there, the need was there for a part-time position, which is why they filled it as part-time.
Okay. Other questions? Councilman Brian Huth.
Thank you, President Pro Tem. Renee, just to, so in the department, and Phil, hello, nice to meet you. You have your office manager and one full-time permit personnel and a part-time permit personnel.
That's correct.
And this act is just codifying what is in existence now. You're not bringing in any new bodies. You're just making what is there permissible.
That's correct. Now, that position is technically vacant right now, so we want to fill it. And through the process of filling it is when I discovered
found the error.
it was never brought before council. So we just want to clean that up. It's nothing additional. It's something that's been budgeted for. It has been since 2022, or even 2021 as temporary. So we just want to make it right. And you may see more coming through this process that we're doing with civil service as well.
Sure. And then just to continue, Phil, the need in the office is evident for that.
Yes, we're getting, we're falling behind, and the permits aren't getting out as quick as they should.
We need fixed. Wonderful. Thank you.
Councilman Creamer.
So just to clarify, how many hours per week is this person going to work?
30, no more than 30.
So if I'm looking at the class schedule, great. Are you saying that each position, each body in a department needs to be listed on this sheet, or can multiple bodies fill the same position because you've approved, let's say, 2 administrative assistants?
Yes, so my understanding is you could have several people filling a position.
Okay,
But this is a different position because it's part-time, and the job duties are a little different than the full-time. So to me, if it's part-time or full-time, that's a different position, because a full-time person doesn't fill a part-time position.
So we always definitively state part-time on positions, because that's kind of caught my eye going, I don't know if I've seen part-time next to a position before on this class grade.
We do have others that are part-time. I believe there's a part-time janitor that isn't filled that I came across through, I don't have the full sheet. But that's my understanding. And per the revised code, it even states that positions have to be brought. And I just look at it as a different position. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe that's why it wasn't brought before, but that's my understanding.
So this individual, this open position that we have, that you're seeking approval, that person's sole responsibility is going to be taking care of permits, because that other full-time administrative assistant can't address these permits, so citizens aren't delayed on whatever they're requesting the permit for?
They're going to help all around. They're going to answer the phones, answer the customers. They're going to help with permits.
I mean, because I feel like just reading this tells me that like everything's halted for the permit process.
It's not halted, it's just slowed down.
Okay.
There's enough volume that there was a justification for an additional part-time. And so they do have some other job duties as well. But the need is there and was justified previously for the volume.
Okay. I just wanted to make
Yeah.
sure that that other body isn't processing things. I mean, if we have a full-time individual with the same title, why they wouldn't be
They are.
processing these.
They are, they
Okay.
are.
Thank you.
Councilman Ray?
Thank you, Mr. Gray. Just to give confirmation, I mean, we pull permits on a regular basis, and there is a definite need for more staff in that department. I mean, I think I have 3 open ones right now, so that need expected right now. So, and I'm just one business owner, and my company's fairly small. And then they do clarify when they come, like, I'm part-time. Like, I've seen people come from Canton and come and help out because the permit process is that behind. Not that behind, I mean, they get done, and they get done efficiently. It's just that, but it's happening, I believe, in both Canton and Massillon. I think they're all understaffed as far as inspectors go, from what I've been noticing. So it would probably be definitely beneficial to fill this position, or maybe multiple positions. It's just to say.
Easy there.
Easy there, hold on now, fella. Yes.
Mrs. Creamer?
Because if this individual works 32 hours, it's going to be considered full-time, right? Isn't there's a stipulation that they can't work, once they hit 32, you're going to kick to full-time.
And they
If it's on a regular basis, then that person's automatically going to be considered full-time.
And they're not full-time. They do not receive the benefits. And that,
Because we're going to keep them at that 30 or
absolutely, that's
lower.
why it's part-time.
Okay.
Sorry.
Councilman Packley?
So no health care associated with it? Okay.
No.
That was thank you very much. That's it.
That's it? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll put it on the agenda for Monday. All right, that is it for rules, courts, and civil service. Streets, highways, traffic, and safety, Councilman Packley.
Nothing new at this time.
All right, thank you. All right, that brings us to finance.
I'm back.
We've got one piece of old, well, actually, we have more than one piece of old legislation, ordinance number 37-2025, an ordinance making certain appropriations from the unappropriated balance of the 1100 general fund for the Massillon Fire Department for the year ending December 31, 2025. This is related to that same legislation earlier for the donation to the fire department from the Grief Brothers. Any additional questions or discussion? Ordinance number 38, an ordinance making certain appropriations from the unappropriated balance of the 1100 general fund for the purpose of income tax refunds for the year ending December 31st, 2025, and declaring an emergency, looking to move $150,000 to the account entitled Income Tax Refunds. Mrs. Kataji's-Boron was here last week to talk about this, something we do each year, just upping the money in the bank account for the tax refunds. Any additional questions or discussion? All right, new piece of legislation. Please prepare legislation to appropriate from the unappropriated balance of the insurance fund 2202 to the following account: 22.905.5.2752. $204,139.25 transfer out. To transfer funds back to the general fund. In 2015, funds were transferred from the general fund to pay for claims under the Bureau of Workers' Compensation retrospective rating plan for policy years 2011 to 2014 for 10 years. We have anybody from administration that can discuss this? And we have a companion piece, correct, that goes with that to do the transfer out and transfer in. So talk about both those if you
Yes.
wish.
Like it said, originally this money came from the general fund and was transferred into the 2202 fund. Back in 2011 to 2014, the city was part of this Bureau of Workers' Comp retrospective rating plan, which meant they could come back to collect on any claims for the next 10 years. So I'm assuming at the time, we don't do this way anymore, was that it was cheaper to be in that for the year, and then you were just basing if you had claims for the next 10 years. So since our last year, and it was 2014, we only had to have this money available till 2024, so they can't come back for any more claims. So we're just moving the money that was originally put in there that we didn't use back to the general fund. So the first piece is to just put it in the transfer out of the 2202 fund, and then the next piece is to transfer it from the 2202 back to the general fund.
Thank you. Any questions, discussion? All right, thank you. Do you also
The
up
next
here
one,
for the
mine,
others?
so if you-
Okay. So the next piece is a pre-prepared legislation authorizing the auditor of the city of Massillon, Ohio to enter into a 5-year contract with Time Clock Plus to provide implementation and training for a new clocking system for the city of Massillon. And there is a quote attached.
Our current clocking system was bought out by another company, probably 3 or 4 years ago. And in 2022, the new company stopped doing any updates on the system that we use, and they don't plan to do any more, and eventually they will phase it out. So last year, we started to look for a new system for the city to clock in and out. We talked to a lot of local other municipalities. We narrowed it down to 2 companies. We had demos where we had all the directors and admin assistants that work with the system get on a demo for both of them, and we narrowed it down to this company, Time Clock Plus, or TCP. And in the end, if you look at the quote, there's only 2 recurring charges. The rest are just kind of the one-time getting the implementation up and running and getting the new time clocks. We did check, and they're not compatible with the time clocks that we currently have. There's only a few systems that do actually use time clocks. The rest of us can either clock in and out on like your phone or on the computer. And in the end, the yearly license fee is just a little bit under what we're currently paying with the system we have now. But we do need to get a new system eventually because ours will be phased out here.
The recurring charges, are those, what frequency are those? Annually?
Annually, yeah.
Okay.
And the second piece of legislation is to appropriate to cover the implementation and the general funds portion of the annual license charge. All the departments that actually are using time clocks, they'll pay for those out of their fund, like wastewater and the park and rec.
So it sounds like this was something was anticipated.
Yeah, I mean, and there's been a lot of complaints about our clocking system at the time, and just getting customer support's not there at all with this new company we've heard a lot of complaints, and so we knew it was just a matter of time. And
So it was budgeted for, or no?
no, that's why the appropriation is attached
Okay.
to it. We kind of started the process last year, but we just couldn't, there wasn't enough time to make a decision before year end, and
Okay.
yeah.
Questions? Councilwoman Cunningham?
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. As I'm looking at this, it says quantity is 319. Does that mean there's 319 employees?
Yes.
Okay.
That would be using the system.
Right, but then if there are any new employees hired, then you need to add those and then there'll be additional charges?
If it's someone leaves and someone comes on, no, only if it's new positions.
Right.
Yes, yes, and it would be $45.
Charged accordingly, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Creamer?
Can you just clarify for me, because I'm looking at this quote, it says it's $43,751.
Yes.
Okay, and then we have the 21,000. So what is the total? Is it the total dollar amount, 43,000?
Total is 43, But the only portion we need for the general fund is 21.
That goes along with this.
Yes.
The amount you said that we need to add, or take from the general fund.
Yes.
All right, thank you. One last piece. Please prepare legislation authorizing the City of Massillon Law Director to enter into an agreement with the City of Canal Fulton, Ohio for the City of Massillon Law Department to provide prosecutorial and legal services to the City of Canal Fulton for the calendar year 2025. The agreement will be effective February 1st, 2025 through January 31st, 2026, with compensation for the one-year agreement in the amount of $26,200. It has emergency language, and the reason is emergency language is requested to allow the law director the authority to formalize the agreement as the effective date of the agreement is February 1st, 2025. The City of Canal Fulton, Ohio has passed their ordinance authorizing the agreement. Is there anybody from administration that can speak to this? I don't see anybody from law department. Okay. I think this is a standard thing. I had a couple questions as far as, is it how this relates to the annual or to the charge from last year? And also, and it would have been good if Councilman Markham was here to talk about, is this actually covering our costs, or are we making any money on this? So I have those questions for this, so perhaps we can discuss it next week. Or I'll contact the law department and get it in the meantime. Any other issues, pieces of business? Seeing none, I will suggest.
Just one thing, I'm sorry. Before, I just wanted to mention that I will be bringing forth that, my piece of business for vote next week.
Okay.
All right.
Any others? All right, we're adjourned.